Welcome back. I would like to thank all the subscribers for showing their support by subscribing to my channel. It means a lot to me. Most importantly, it encourages me to make many such learning videos and post them on YouTube. Once again, thank you so much. In this series, we are writing a Spring application and securing it with Spring Security. So far, our application has been authenticating users against a database. If you have missed those episodes, then I would recommend you to watch those videos and then you can watch this particular episode. In this episode, we will authenticate users using JSON Web Token. We will start this by adding a library that we will use to create and validate the token. Um, the name of the library is JJWT. So we will start with pom.xml. This is the library I have added to the POM file. We will devise a way to authenticate and generate a JWT when a user is legit. Once the user is authenticated and JWT is returned to the client, then the expectation is that the client will hold that token and will send the token in the header of each subsequent request. Before we code any JWT stuff, let me create a model class in the models package, and we will add only two properties in the model class. Let me name the model class as auth request model. We will add two properties. One is username and the other one is password. Private string username, private string password. Let's go ahead and add a no-arg constructor. And also another constructor with arguments. And finally, let's generate getters and setters for these two fields. The class is ready. Let's now move on to application.properties and define a secret in this file. This will be used for signing the JWT. Right, let's go to the controller class now and we will create another endpoint. So far we had only two endpoints. Now we will add another in the controller class. We will say at the rate request mapping value will be equal to slash authenticate, and this is going to be a HTTP post method. And the name of the method will be public string get JWT auth token. This method will accept username and password. So we have already created a model class. We will use that model class to accept username and password. So we are saying that at the rate request body auth request model, and name of that the variable will be auth request model. If the user exists in the database, then a token will be created. Otherwise, bad credentials exception will be thrown. So we will keep the code within try and catch block. Before that, let me auto-wire authentication manager. We will also auto-wire user details service, which we have already created in our previous one of the previous episodes. We will auto-wire JWT service, which is not ready yet, but we will write it in a bit. Okay, so we have auto-wired all the dependencies, meaning all the bins that we need in this class. So within the try block, we will use the authenticate method of authentication manager. To that, we will pass a username password authentication token object, and that object will accept the username and password that we have received in the request. Right, so we have passed in username and password. If authentication is successful, then the control will go to the next statement. Otherwise, a bad credentials exception will be thrown. So we will catch that in the catch block. We will say that catch bad credentials exception E, and then we will throw new exception. And to that we will say incorrect username and password. Sorry, incorrect username or password, and we will also throw the actual exception. All right, so if authentication was successful, then we will go ahead and fetch the user details from our user details service with the method load user by username. We will pass the username to this method, and this method will go and pull the user from the database. Let's define a string which will hold the generated JWT, which we will get from the JWT service, which is yet to be created. So we will create a method JWT service dot get JWT. To that, we are providing user details object. And once the JWT is available, we will return that to the user. Okay, let's go ahead and create another Java class within the services package. Sorry, yeah, services package, and we will name it as JWT service. We will annotate this class as @service, and we will read the secret from our application.properties file, which we have already defined the secret. We will read that from there. It's a string simple string which I have defined in the properties file, and that content of the string will be stored in the variable secret. This is the method we are going to create, which is going to return a string get JWT, and this will accept a user details object. Notice that we are using, before that, let me create a map. Let me name it as claims. It's it's a map of string and object. And name of the map is claims, and we are saying that map equal to new hash map. So we will store the JWT in is another string called JWT. So JWTs dot, I'm not getting the default, I mean the suggestion. So let me import all the dependencies. Yeah, if I click on reload project, all the dependencies will be downloaded. Yeah, now if I say JWTs dot, yeah, now I'm getting suggestions. So JWTs dot builder, where you may notice that builder pattern is in effect, and we are using that to generate the JWT token. Okay, we are saying that JWT.builder.set claims, and then we are setting the subject, which is nothing but the username dot set issued at. We will mention the time at which the token was issued. So we'll say current system time. We will also set expiry time. So we are saying set expiration, and that will be current time plus maybe an hour. So we will add 3600 seconds to to current time. Then the next thing we will do is we will sign the token with our secret, and we will use hashing algorithm. It is 256, and we will use our secret and dot compact. So this is how we are going to generate the token. Once token is generated, we will return that, return the token. The other method we are going to create is to validate a token that is going to be part of any subsequent request. So that method will return a boolean, meaning it will either say the token is valid or invalid. So the return type will be boolean. Name of the method is valid token. So to that we will pass an token and user details object. So we will extract the username from the token first. After that, we will verify the username and token expiry. Before that, let me write another generic method which we will need to extract the username as well as the expiry. So the name of that method is extract claims. It accepts two parameters. One is token, the other one is function. Function of function of claims and a generic, and let me name it as claim resolver. So basically we are parsing the JWT and extracting the claims from here. So we said JWT is dot parser dot set sign key, sorry, set signing key, and to that we are passing our secret dot parse claims JWS token dot get body. So we will say resolver dot apply the claims, and after that we will return claims resolver dot apply claims. Right now, coming back to our is valid token method, we are extracting the username from the token. To it, we are passing the token as well as passing the subject, that is the username, and we will return. Uh, we will see if it is the username in the system is matching with the token. For that, we are saying that username dot equals user details dot get username, and we will check if the token is expired or not. If both of them are true, then we will return true, otherwise we will return false. So here we are extracting the expiration by passing token and claims dot get expiration to our extract claim method, and we are checking if that is before current date. I mean, it is not expired. So simple enough, right? So this method is going to return a Boolean value. Now that the service is ready, the only hurdle left is to intercept requests and then extract the token out of it and then validate it. So we will figure out a way to intercept all the incoming requests. The way we do that is by using a filter. Let me go ahead and create a filter first. Maybe I'm getting some error here. Maybe something is not imported. We'll come to that a little later. So let me go ahead and create a filter. We will create that in a filter package. Name of the class will be JWT filter, right? Let me copy and paste all the content in the class, and then I will walk you through the code. Let me import all the dependencies. And this JWT filter will extend once for request filter. So that means for each request, this filter will be called once. And to that, we have auto our user detail service, JWT service, and this is the logger. We will override the do filter method in this class. In this method, we are actually extracting the token, validating it, and if the token is valid, then we are setting the security context. After that, we will hand over the request to other filters in the chain to do their duty. Right, you can see that first of all, we are extracting the authorization header from the request, and then we are checking if that is null, not null. If that is not null, then we are extracting the token by splitting the string from uh, position 7, and then from there we are extracting the username. If the username is not null and the security context is null, meaning security context holder, that means no, it is not populated before. What we will do is we will go and fetch the user details from the database. Once that is fetched, we will go ahead and validate the token with the our user details object. And to do that, we are using username password authentication token. We are creating an object of it. We're creating an object of it, and then um, we are setting all the details in here. As you can see, security context holder dot get context dot set authentication, and to that we are passing our username password authentication token. Even though the filter is created, unless we ask Spring Boot to, or rather Spring Security to use the filter, Spring will not use it. The way we inform Spring Security to use this filter is to modify the config, Spring config, one of the methods in Spring config, security config class. So So in this class, we will override another method in order to inform Spring Security to ignore security of the slash authenticate endpoint, because every user, irrespective of if the user is authenticated or not, should be able to access it. Before that, let me um, mention that we want Spring Security to execute the filter that we just created before username password authentication filter. So we do that by adding this configuration http.add filter before, and to that we are passing our name of our filter, and then we are mentioning before username password authentication filter dot class. This has to be executed. We will also create a bean which authentication manager bean, because you remember we are using that in our controller class. So we are doing that here by creating a bin. In this method, this method will return authentication manager. So name of the method is get authentication manager. Name doesn't matter, anything can will do. So super dot authentication manager bean. So this is not available by default in Spring. So we have to explicitly create the bean and return it so that Spring can manage it. All right, we have one more method to override. So we will just to inform Spring that you do not have to secure or that slash authentication endpoint, and also we have another endpoint which we do not want to be secured, that is slash info. We will mention that here, saying that web dot ignoring dot ant matchers, and also to this ant matchers we will pass in two arguments. One is the endpoint and the other one will be type of the method, which is http method.get. So info will be ignored. I mean, no security will be applied on this endpoint, as well as we will also ignore the slash authenticate, which is a post method. So that's what we have mentioned. If we do not do that, then no user will be able to log in ever. So that is why this is a mandatory step that we have to perform. So we have auto wired now the JWT filter, which I forgot to auto wire. Okay, this security config class is ready. Security controller is also ready. Okay, I think we have not auto-wired JWT service. Um, we will auto-wire that. And also I forgot to add the annotation add the red component in our filter. So I have done that as well. Let me now start the application. The application is running now. As you can see, the application is started. Let's go ahead and open our Postman and send a post request, which will first of all it will authenticate the user, and if a user is authentic, then a token will be created and sent back to the UI. So we are using basic authentication here. We're not providing any username and password. In the request body, we are passing um, an object, JSON object with the username and password. And if I hit on send, and in the response, I'm getting the JWT. We will use this JWT to access another endpoint, which is slash hello, which is secured. We will use that here. So type will be bearer token, and in the header we will add this um, authentication token with bearer space, then the JWT. And if I hit send, as you can see, uh, response hello pxp and the status is 200. Okay. And if I remove authentication, meaning if I do not send JWT token in the request, then you are saying that the request is unauthorized. But I am able to access slash info because it is not authenticated. So any user can access it. So now I enabled authorization header, and now I'm able to again access the endpoint. That is it for today. In the next episode, we will integrate the application with Flutter. If you have not done so yet, then please do not hesitate to subscribe to my channel. If there are any queries or comments, then please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.